as a software engineer with a company named as Headstrong, where I was kind of, an intern. And then I moved to Infosys, spent a couple of years there. Then I moved to Bank of America, uh, spent like a couple of years there. Then I went to do my MBA. And then I was very much excited about startups and all, because that is something which I really liked, the way they work, the way the, whole, let's say, execution and how startups work excited me. And then I joined a small startup in Austria, which is called as Runtastic. So Runtastic was a fitness health company. I built around 5 mobile applications over there, couple of them from zero, and one was kind of a flagship app which was in maintenance mode, and added some features over there as well. And I will say that fantastic journey was pretty exciting. Grew a lot of customers over there, did a great role when it came to get monetization from the premium users. And I will say that Fantastic is a pretty successful exit. It got sold to Adidas in year 2014. And then I came to Vietnam, where I joined Rocket Internet. So Rocket Internet, for those who don't know, is like, I will say, a venture capital firm which invests in startups. And once they are post seed stage, then the company becomes itself a big part of what they have to do operationally. And I joined this company named as Lazada, which is you can say similar to what Amazon is for the rest of the world. So Lazada was operating in 6 Southeast Asian countries. I was responsible for mobile applications there, set up both Android and iOS. Also did the seller side, so the kind of B2B application. And one of the key thing I was instrumental was to bring the orders from nowhere, because there was no mobile application, to almost 55% of the total orders we had. And spent, I will say, close to 3 years there. And I will say Alibaba bought them. So it was a pretty successful exit. I will list them as a unicorn. They got sold for $1 billion. And there I came to Berlin for another Rocket Internet venture named as Zipsit. It was a small startup into dry cleaning and laundry business, which sounds pretty crazy at that time, but I chose it because there were a lot of challenges there. Especially, I was interested in that fixing and working on the logistic challenges. How can we make sure that, for example, the orders we are picking up in that same route, we can pick more orders, and how we can improve that algorithm. So that was one thing which I really worked on. But along with that, because I was a head of product there, and I was instrumental in every product decision, strategy, and roadmap, I was able to, along with my team, instrumental in bringing the customer churn down by almost 7x quarter on quarter. That was Rocket Internet. So I spent close to 6 years, 6.5 years with Rocket Internet, and then kind of got bored with it because of the same, let's say, mindset, considering like all the children were getting raised in the same way from Rocket Internet. Then I started working with a company called as Fliit, where I am today. It's a it's a startup backed by Maersk Growth, so one of the big name in logistics industry. And I am here for almost now 1.5 years. And I'm working as a head of product, solving the logistics problem. So what Fliit is doing is, it's a typical B2B startup, which is connecting shippers who want to ship their food products or vegetable products. So basically perishable items, and they are connecting with carriers. So carriers being, for now, the inland, trucking companies. And right now we are moving goods from all the way down from Colombia to, for example, mainland Germany, Spain, Italy, and all the other big countries of Europe. Uh, yeah, so logistics is something which I'm finding really exciting. That's why I'm here. Spent my last 4, 5 years, I would say, in supply chain and logistics area. and something which is like pretty traditional industry, and it's really interesting to make it digital. So it's a pretty challenging industry, pretty interesting. But one thing to say is that it is pretty traditional, so it takes time to get digital. But just wanted to add that what my like what my interests are when it comes to a particular domain or genre. So that's, I will say, more or less on my professional front. On personal front, I have a family, my wife and a 3-year-old kid. I love to play badminton, definitely cricket. I think being an Indian, one should definitely play cricket. And I love to read books. So the one which I'm reading these days is named as Upstream. If you guys are in books, I will strongly recommend this book to you guys, even if you are related, even if you are not interested in books, I will still strongly suggest it's a wonderful read. And yeah, I will say that's more or less about me. I'm really excited to conduct this AMA. So I will try to keep this open. The major goal is, I know that many of you have signed up or probably will sign up for the cohort 17. So please feel free to shoot any question. I would be more than happy to answer that. And also, ask me whatever you feel like. There is no stupid question, so just go ahead for it. And yeah, that's more or less about me, like I said. So more than happy to know about you, get your questions, and have an open conversation.
So, Gaurav, we have few questions pre-submitted by the audience. If you want, I can start. We can take 2, 3 of them, and then we can open up.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay. So, first one is how to transition into PM role abroad in countries like Germany and US.
Yeah, I will say I can share my advice on this and also how I did. So like I said, when I was doing my MBA, so I was very much interested in reading about startups. I used to read a lot about TechCrunch, featured articles on startups and all. And that's when I got interested to know about how product management is done in startups. I will say that I cannot really answer the question about US because there are a lot of bureaucratic problems there that you have tough time to get a visa or something like that. But I can answer definitely for Germany. So in Germany, product management is you know at a very great level right now. There are super cool companies where you will find really, really awesome product managers, and also a lot of startups which are building really, really great products which are kind of used worldwide, and that's why they are also hiring a lot of people. Yeah. Now transitioning over there, I will say it's pretty like straightforward. So of course search for a job, you apply for it, you go through round of interviews, but that is a pretty normal thing, right? But one thing I will strongly advise is that if you want to transition into it, make sure that you know about the company, you know about their product, you have done your enough homework. If they are a B2C company and their app or their website is commonly or publicly available, then please make sure that you are spending at least 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, whatever, to deeply understand their business, to deeply understand how their product is working, why they have done it like this and why they have not done like that. Do a good research on their competitors and try to form, I will say, a case study around their product. Now that case study is something which could be, and I'm saying this as an example. Yeah. Now this case study could be, for example, something which is on open, that you found something which could be changed, which could be added, or stuff like that. And of course, there is nothing wrong or right in it, because right now you don't know the data, you don't know the customers, you don't know their pain points. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you will do this, you will first understand a lot of things before writing any alphabet in that case study, that whether this thing has to be done like the way you were thinking or not. So think twice, thrice before you write anything. and question yourself. And once you have done that, I will say that get it reviewed by, for example, a couple of folks, couple of senior folks, and send it over to these guys over LinkedIn, or let's say get in touch with the HR if they are, getting in touch with you regarding first interview or second interview, whatever, kind of to show that you are really interested and you are really serious for this company. And what I can tell you is that if you will do this, but considering the content is good, it could be wrong content, but at least your intentions were good. But and what I'm trying to say here is that this will really help you to get your odds better. And that is going to be like my one of the advice which I will say, how to transition into product management, especially in Germany, because they are looking out for people, talented people. So if you are showing them that you are a hungry product manager, or you are a hungry aspiring product manager, and you have what they need, I am sure that they will ask you for interviews, and if everything goes green, then you can be in Germany, for example, in a couple of months. I hope that answers the question.
I think that does. Uh, so next one is related to transitioning. So a lot of them have asked questions related to transitioning. So I am clubbing 3-4 of them. So they want to transition from non-technical backgrounds, basically being a functional consultant, being a marketer, and being a salesperson. So will they be able to transition into product management?
Yeah, I mean, my short answer will be yes, definitely, because if you will see, and I mean, after this, for example, session, I will strongly recommend you to search for an article which is something like this. Uh, so there was this lady at some museum in United States, how she get into product management. That will really help you to answer this question. One thing I can tell you is that in product management, there is no solid, in my opinion, requirement that you have to be technical. Yeah, because for that technical thing, you have your counterparts who are engineering people, right? I mean, of course, it helps you to have an edge, but it is not something which is super, super mandatory. So the only thing, or not the only thing, but the couple of things which are solid requirements in product management are, I will say, empathy towards the customers. So basically, you know what you are building and you know for whom you are building, right? The second thing I will say is you should speak with your customers. So if you are excellent in that, then nobody can stop you from being a good and great product manager. So it doesn't matter whether you are from sales or whether you are from, let's say, non-technical, any stream. The second I will say is a close eye, and not only eye, but understanding the data and analytics, because you should know, let's say, not only the qualitative aspect of it, but also the quantitative aspect of what your products are telling you. The last thing I will say, I mean, among the many others, but in my opinion, kind of top notch thing is going to be the way you communicate. Yeah, because product manager is playing a very, very key role when it comes to decisions, when it comes to execution, when it comes to prioritization and many other things. And in everything of this, a solid communication is required. So if you are able to do that, kind of make sure that people are aware what you are working on, why you are working on, what are the drawback if you do this, what are the advantages if you do that, so on and so forth, then I will say that there is going to be no problem for you to get transitioned, even if you are from non-technical background. So people who are in non-technical streams right now, I will say that don't worry about this thing. Be bold, be fearless, and try to understand what, like I said in the previous answer, understand the product, understand the basics of it, and you are, I will say, totally good to go. But I will definitely recommend the article, like I said, So I can't remember that name, but this lady was some worker in a museum in New York, and she transitioned into product management, and she wrote her journey and how she did it, and that's a very excellent read. So have a look on it.
Thanks. We have few questions in chat section. First one is from Abhiraj. Abhiraj, do you want to speak up and ask your queries? I can see you have 2, 3 questions.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask. So hi Gaurav, this is Abhiraj.
Hey, Abhiraj.
Yeah. Basically, I am on the lower side of the work experience. I only have a year of work experience, and I'm currently working as a UX designer.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like for me, how like would it be tough to switch to a PM role or something like that, because I have like my work experience is on the lower side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say that it's going to be a problem. Of course, you have to start with companies who are looking for people with less years of experience. But the good thing is that you are, like you said, you are a UX person.
Yeah.
So you know the nuances of how a product manager works, right? You know
Right.
how they work. You have been working closely with them. I'm
Hmm.
sure about that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know what is required. You know what is their daily task, if not to the detail, but you know at least what they go and what they do, and everything around that. So I won't call it that it's going to be tough or it's going to be impossible. The only thing is, yes, maybe there are companies which are hiring for example, programs like APMs, like
Okay.
associate product managers, or people who are kind of hiring for PM interns, and then they are getting transitioned into PM and then senior PM. So maybe that is the path which could be, or it also depends on the scale of the startup. For example, if it is a kind of small scale startup right now, then it could be possible that they are probably, in my opinion, not hiring because they want less people, but less people with good experience so that they can start making a good mark already. But maybe in the large companies where they have product managers for almost each and every little component of the product, maybe they will have no problem. But before that, I will say that maybe you can work much more closely with your PM right now to understand his daily work, his or her daily work, understand what they do to make the product better, and then kind of use those skills to get transitioned into product management. So it should not be a hurdle, in my opinion, at all.
Okay, thanks for answering.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey Gaurav, this is Praveen here. I have a question. Can I?
Sure. Hey, Praveen. You're doing
So
good.
currently, right. So I'm working as a product manager in a startup company. But when I look for the next upcoming opportunities, I'm seeing a lot of different designations. What the designation by means is, I see a lot of growth product manager, platform product manager, data product manager, and a product owner. So can you help me to understand the different set of roles and the responsibilities for a growth versus a platform versus a data and a product owner? Because these are the common positions I see in the open market.
Yeah. Well, I will say that. I mean, I will say that I'm kind of an old-fashioned, old school guy here. I don't think that there is anything like, growth PM, data PM, platform PM. I won't call product owner because I will come back to that. But why I'm saying old school, because I feel that there is nothing like growth PM or data PM. Yeah. If I am a PM for a product, for example, let's say taking an example for Zomato, if I am the Zomato product manager for, let's say, their food app, now I have to make sure that I check out how can I make sure that the product is growing. And that is what the growth PM is doing, right? I am going to check what the data is. So to make sure that, like I said, quantitative analysis, and I check that data to make decisions, prioritization, and that is what the role of data PM is. Now, platform PM is something which I can say could be a bit different because that also comprises of a bit of technical knowledge. Yeah, how to scale, for example, Twitter as a platform, right? So that is where you have to have technical expertise. But just to make a difference here, I think it should not be, yeah, in all, these are all like similar roles. Of course, people have now divided that into different roles because product itself is so challenging and getting so complex. That's why people start calling that, okay, we want to hire a growth PM, we want to hire a data PM. But in my opinion, it should be not titled as growth PM or data PM. It should be titled all as product manager, considering that someone is just handling ABC aspect, someone is handling XYZ aspect. Now coming back to the original question that you said, what is the difference? So first difference between product manager and product owner, I will say is in startups, if you will see that there is not really a big difference because people are less and everyone is wearing multiple hats to do the same job. But kind of a book language says that the product manager is more or less close to the business side, understanding the strategy, making sure that the roadmap is there to build up things, how the vision is going to be, product vision is going to be, and kind of connecting dots on business level. Whereas a product owner is more like, a person who is going to convert this business requirements or product vision into something what we call as stories or epics, and is going to make sure that they are having this grooming session, planning session with the engineers, and everything goes perfectly fine over there. So if I have to term that in just one line, this is the biggest difference. But like I said, this is a very thin line difference, and there is a lot of juggle in both roles. Now, a growth PM, I will say, is going to be defined as one who is focusing totally on how the product can be can grow. Now, growth can be defined in multiple ways: how you can acquire more customers, how you can grow the customer base, how you can grow the revenue, how you can make sure that, for example, if you are having a retention rate of 10%, how can you retain, grow it to 15%, for example, and all the aspects where you are doing a lot of experiments, where you are making sure that whatever you're working on is helping to grow the company. Yeah. And in kind of a short sentence. And then the data PM, like I said, for example, you have now you can imagine that Zomato has piles and piles of data, right? So they can explore that data and kind of make meaningful products out of that. So data PM, I can say, is also something which could be mix and match of what a data science team is doing as well, so that they are checking the data and how can they improve, for example, let's say delivery algorithms, that how they can deliver to your address faster than, let's say, 2 minutes, which is a previous benchmark, for example. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gaurav.
Yeah. Hey, Pritam, I see you have raised your hand. And Praveen, if you don't mind to lower your hand so that it's clear that you don't have any other question. Thank you.
Hey, Gaurav, this is Naveen here.
So I heard multiple voices. So I guess it was Naveen, right?
Yes, Gaurav.
Hey, Naveen.
Hey, hi. Yeah, hi, everyone. Hey, Gaurav. I'm a Salesforce developer. Like from past 3 years, I've been working as a developer. And in mid, I have completed my MBA from Malta.
Yep.
And due to some health issues and COVID situations, I came back to India and again started as a developer. Right now, I'm working as a developer. Like I just, I need to start career as a product, in this product manager's role. Like, how can I cope up in here? And is there anything that I can, build in product manager? Like, what the step? And one more question. I hear that you started Runtastic, right?
Yes, that's right.
And yeah, Runtastic, yeah. How exactly? How you started is like, what the challenges you faced? Like, you had any support team with you? Like, you collaborated? How it's funded? Yeah.
Yeah, so you asked two questions. The first question is, if I'm not wrong, how to do the transition, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so like I mentioned once when, for example, Piyush was framing this question. So transitioning into product, I will say there are multiple steps, but I will just rephrase what I said. So one thing which, in my opinion, could be something like you can take a product. For example, it could be Uber or Ola or Zomato or whatever your favorite product, and kind of build a case study around it. Yeah. Now that case study could be something which is which is going to serve two or three purposes. One is it is going to help you to understand how exactly the product is built, or why exactly have they built it like this and not something else, etc. Right? Or something else. I mean, the second thing I will say is this is going to help you to see what kind of things are there which you can add, or maybe how you can modify something which is existing if that is a pain point. So if you have your favorite product, I'm sure if you are using a, let's say, consider WhatsApp, right? Probably people are using WhatsApp like at least 10 times a day or even more. So if you see that there is this, certain thing which you can do with WhatsApp, just try to build that case study and draft out every possible aspect. Of course, go through readings at medium.com, go through readings at different product, blogs and all, at Twitter or whatever, and try to understand that how to form a good case study. And I will say that that is something which you can build, review it with your, review it with, for example, senior folks or product people who can help you, and kind of make it in a way that is something which you can share with the potential employer. Now, when you are, for example, applying for a job as a product manager, I will say that there are two ways, right? So one is that you are applying through a normal way where you are just applying as a candidate on their job, a portal and submitting your CV and your cover letter. Now, that is something which I personally feel is okay. That is something which everybody is doing. But if you are supplying this case study as well, along with the supported documents, in my opinion, your probability or your chances of having more weight on your application increases. And that is what helps in transitioning. Now, there is the second way also that you can directly reach out to people who are, let's say, if you're applying at Zomato, reach out to the people over there who are in product. Now, I'm sure that out of 50 people you will reach, one at least will respond, or even if it is not, it's okay. But reach out to them, send this case study to them, try to put your point that you are very much enthusiastic about product, you are willing to work with this team, why you are willing to work with this team, and kind of put a weight in your application. Now that is one way how I have seen and how I have told people to do it, and I have seen positive results. And this is something which I can definitely recommend. I mean, there are many other things, other ways, but considering we just have 1 hour of this AMA, we cannot cover each and everything. And to answer your second question for Fantastic, so yeah, I mean, when I joined Fantastic, one of the biggest challenge for me was that at that time, product management was something which was much more popular in the US, but not, let's say, in Europe or, for example, for that matter, India. And one of the key challenge was that I used to feel sometimes that I'm not doing exactly what I should be or what I was reading at, for example, Quora.com or Twitter or whatever, but I was doing more or less project management. That if everything is aligned, people are working, we will have delivery or execution by 12th of September, for example, yes or no, right? But then there were continuous things which I, along with the team, we did. We were talking to a lot of customers. We were, understanding a lot of data. And that was a very big challenge. Why? Because this was completely new for not only for me, but also for the whole product team. So getting that product culture into a company was pretty challenging because people were not like prepared for it, or people were not really aware of it. So they had this notion that a product manager has to be there, but they were not really clear about it. So what we were doing was that we were just building features, we were shipping it, and then we were realizing that this is not something which people were asking for it. So it was like we wasted our 2 months, and then realizing that yes, this time is gone and we cannot roll it back. But then those challenges we started, like solving by bringing this product culture. There were many other challenges, I will say. So Runtastic was one big product. We had users, in I don't remember the number, but at that time it was like I don't know, maybe 20 odd million users worldwide for just one single application. And this I'm talking about 2011, 2010, when internet was not really a very big thing on everybody's smartphone. So we had a challenge that whenever we were building things, it was like, are we talking to right set of customers? Are we making sure that we are understanding their pain points? Because you cannot, you cannot have an answer to this, that have you spoken to good number of users? So I was always under this impression that I can speak to more and more and more, but you cannot, right? Because you just have few hours or few days and weeks to kind of, do this phase, what we call as product discovery. Yeah, I mean, there were many other challenges, I will say as well, but considering the topmost, I will, list them as the topmost. I hope that answers your question again.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav.
You're welcome.
Hi, Gaurav. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please. Hey, go ahead.
I am Chaitali.
Hi.
Hi. So this is not exactly the transition thing. What I'm asking, a bit different. So say if you have to pitch your product to a C-suite executive. So I'm not talking about the initial pitch that has been done. So he has to decide whether he has to invest in some sort of initiative. So what are the things we should keep in mind? So the BMC and all those things been done.
Do you mind repeating your question again? I'm not sure if I got it.
So
100%.
basically, I have a problem statement where I have to discuss a kind of platform strategy with one of my senior suite executives, and I have been told to do extensive research. So I'm starting from, say, secondary and primary and all those things. The main thing is the ROI, what he's going to decide. So how do we prepare from, as you were telling, no, that the things has to be data driven. So I know the parts, but what are the analytics approaches I should put step by step and put it in front of them? Because normally they have very less time, right, to decide, but they want the data backed things.
Yeah, so I will say this is a very great question. So
Yeah,
it's something which is not easy to answer, to be fairly honest, but I will, give my shot on this. So one thing which I feel that in every product company, it should be one single success metric, which it should drive the product. Yeah, we call this single metric as North Star metric generally. Yeah?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go and do a Google, you will find really good articles on that.
I mean,
Now,
I have done before. Yeah.
Exactly. So sounds good. So the biggest advantage of this is that whenever you are doing this North Star metric, right, and kind of choose this North Star metric, it might take you 1 week, 2 weeks, or even a month, because there are a lot of different metrics, a lot of questions, a lot of ping pong, that why this, why not that, right? So what I will suggest is that whenever you are building this feature or your product, or if you have to put this in front of your senior executives, I will say that first of all, try to convince them that why this single metric is the one which they need. Once they are convinced, I will say that you have whatever products you're building, whatever your features you're building, you have to make sure that those features are the ones which will improve your product North Star metric, right? Because eventually, if your North Star metric is going north, which is basically it is increasing, then the good thing is going to be that the company's, let's say, revenue or company, whatever X goal is also going to increase,
Got it.
right? Now, consider that you have, a feature which is, I don't know, let's say adding a search functionality in Zomato, right? Now start questioning yourself that is adding a search in Zomato going to help to achieve your North Star metric to increase? If not, and of course, when you are doing this exercise, it's going to take you time, right? It's going to be some 100 questions which you have to answer to yourself. You do this exercise for all the feature requests you have, for all the features you have, for all the bugs you have, and other everything. And then kind of filter it out that, okay, these are the things which will help improve the North Star metric. Now, once you have done this, I will say that you have to just, in my opinion, go in front of the executives, tell them that these are the 7 things which I have chosen because this will increase X, Y, and Z, which in turn will increase North Star metric, which in turn will increase the company goal. I mean, like I said, it's a very short answer to answer your big question, but there are a lot of other factors which go into the picture, right?
So
But like you said, that
got
the
it.
executives have less time, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the good thing I can add one more point here, that what you can do as a good like strategy or whatever it could be,
Yeah,
that you can build a little dashboard where you and they have agreed upon that these are the things which they would like to see if a product is doing good or product is doing bad. And that could be something which is a simple link like a Tableau or whatever, and 7-8 key information is there which when they see, they can say that we are doing good, we are not doing good, for example. I mean, it's a pretty use case specific question, so I cannot answer like to a deepest detail. Maybe this is something we can discuss later as, I don't know, one-on-one kind of thing. But overall, this would be my answer to this.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Gaurav.
Hey, Nilesh.
Hi, yeah. So Gaurav, I have 3 years of work experience in IT industry as as a support engineer, and currently I'm pursuing MBA from IIM Trichy. Right. So I'm a product management enthusiast, and I've also been interning in a company in a 10-year-old startup as a product manager. Okay. So mostly my experience in product manager here has been complete ownership of product that we have owned and we have sold to the US client. So previously, one product we have sold to the US client, which is a quality management pharmaceutical tool. And currently there is another product in real estate sector that we are also building for the client. So my role here is completely, creating the PRD document and PRD MRD documents, then creating use cases from there, then creating wireframes and collaborating with UX UI teams and development team and all those things. But I feel that my experience as a product management is still not holistic because I am not able to work on a product to improve it. Or similarly, I am not able to, sit on a product and identify KPIs and, use those as a success metrics and then particularly go on about it. So considering that that I want to build a career in product management in recent few months, how do I tackle all this thing and how do I approach it from now?
Yeah, like to kind of get broad info on your question, when you say that how do you approach this, what exactly do you mean? Like, for example, when you want to change your job or in the current job?
No. So I am interning as a PM in this company, right? Yeah. My role in this internship is creating, PRD documents, identifying and creating use cases, then creating wireframes from it, collaborating with UX UI team, development team, and all those things. But still, I have not been able to, use the KPIs to improve a product. Yeah. And all those things. So I feel that my experience is not yet complete. And considering that I want to make a career in product management in recent months, what should I do now?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, I will say. So one thing I can strongly suggest is that try to get closer, because I'm pretty sure that people who are for example, you said that you are doing internship, right? So, but there are going to be people who are actually working on this product with a couple of years of experience, right? I'm sure that you can, kind of ask them, understand with them that what are the success metrics for us. So, for example, when you said that you sold this product to US company, I'm sure that the US company might have, checked all these, key criteria that is this product really good for them or not. And in that, the metrics do play a big role. And that's why I'm saying that maybe for now, you are not aware that what are the KPIs or what are the metrics, but I'm 100% sure that that information is with someone. Yeah. So I will say that try to explore it with the people, make sure that you understand, make sure that if you are, I don't know, doing a meeting with these people, then, there is this, how we call it, a weekly or monthly look back. Then they are telling you, or kind of having a collaborative email where they are sharing that, this week we did X number of users, X number of, I don't know, conversion rate or whatever it could be. So one way is that. The second way I will say is that you said you are doing PRD, right? One of
Yes,
the
yes.
key things in the PRD, in my opinion, is to mention the goal. Yeah, that why are you doing this? So, for example, if going back to the example of Zomato search. So, for example, if I add search functionality in Zomato and I'm writing this PRD, one of the goal, information I will add in my PRD is that what is my goal? And by that goal, what I mean is that what I'm trying to achieve is my X number going to increase by X percentage or not. So I will say that that is something which is pretty important. And considering if you are not aware of your KPI, I will say that that important component is missing in your PRD. So on that also, I will say that maybe sit with, I don't know, your senior product manager or maybe like a head of product or CPO, I don't know your hierarchy in the organization, and try to understand that how or what kind of numbers, is this specific functionality going to increase, right? So dig deeper with them and try to see if they have a dashboard, try to see if they have a tool like Google Analytics or I don't know, Heap Analytics or whatever it could be, and try to explore that part to the deepest level. Yeah. So this is, I will say, at the company level. Now, the second I will say is at the personal level, right? Now, what you can do is to understand what are the KPIs, what are these things, or how different things work. So what I did in my past was that I created a pretty simple blog. It was just a plain blog where I was writing, for example, I don't know, something very random every fifth day or seventh day. What I did was I integrated this with Google Analytics. Now, my major aim was not to write a blog, but my major aim was to understand Google Analytics. So one thing it helped me was to understand what is an active user, what is, where are the users coming from, what is the bounce rate. So not to just understand it, but also improve it. So I was like playing around with my website, my blog site. It was pretty low data. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be something in millions in 1 month or 1 year, but even if it is in hundreds in 2 months, 3 months, it's not that bad to understand from the core level. Yeah. So that is something which I can suggest. The another thing I will say is that there is a fantastic book named as Lean Analytics. So if you have not read that, please go ahead with that. That is the book which is, I will say, uncovering everything when it comes to analytics and data things from product and general perspective. And that is something which can help you big time to understand the KPIs and how to go about it. Yeah, and of course, then I will say the last thing is that there are a lot of different great articles over internet, for example, on Medium and on all these things, and that can definitely help you. Yeah, so I hope that that is what you were looking for, or if that is answering your question.
Yes, yes, it did exactly answer my question. Can you just repeat the name of the book you suggested right now?
I can write in the chat. It's named as
Yeah,
Lean
sure,
Analytics.
sure, sure. If you could write that in the chat, it would
Yeah, I just wrote that in the chat. And I will strongly suggest if you have time, you should read this book. Yeah, I'm sure it is available on Amazon and all. And this is something which is, I will say, a great read.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gaurav. Alok here. Gaurav, sorry, but I'm taking you back you to our transition question. And I have one situational question here, right? So I understand that from your introduction, you have like your developer earlier, and then you gradually move to a product management role. Okay, my question is, what would have happened if you didn't had any development or technical skills, hands-on skill, I would say. So what, because you have transitioned to product management role, so what problems you could have faced if you didn't have any technical expertise?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will say a couple of things, right? So one thing is that what I see is that people who are having no technical experience, they, sometimes it's not easy for them to understand what exactly is, for example, an API, or what exactly is, for example, a microservice. Yeah. So as a technical guy, it was easy for me to understand, but maybe for a non-technical guy, or if I would have not been a technical guy from my undergrad, probably this could have been something tough for me to understand. The other things I will say is I see people struggling, but I will also say it here that it doesn't mean that you cannot be a product manager. Yeah, it's just my answers to your question. The other thing that I will see is sometimes it is a bit tough when it comes to understand what exactly goes into front end and what exactly goes into back end. So understanding that takes some time for people who are non-technical to see and kind of create that line of difference, that how front end works, how back end works, how, I don't know, for example, like I said, API works, how microservice work, how A is talking to B, and so on. The third thing, and that is the most important thing, according to me, and that is the basic SQL. I feel that since I was technical, by undergrad profession or undergrad course, I was not great in SQL, but I was still okay in SQL, that I can handle at least basic queries. And I feel that if you know basic queries, and if you can query your database, of course, in the beginning, the dev team can help you to set what exactly the tables are, so on and so forth. But if they are able to help you with that, and you are doing that, then this will really, really help you to fetch sometimes data which you were looking for, because now you are not dependent on your developers to get that data. You can do it by yourself. So
Right.
those would be my couple of things which I will say as challenges which I could have faced. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Gaurav.
Yeah, hi Gaurav, Himanshu this
Hey
side.
Gaurav.
Hey, let's go with Himanshu. I heard him first. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks you, Gaurav. So I have a question. Like I have a background, like I have close to 3 years of experience in a data analyst as a data analyst, right? So how does this profile give me like you can say, how does this profile help me to transit into project management? And my first question is this, and second question is, what is specifically technical skills companies are looking for, like firms are looking for?
Yeah. So I will say, to answer your first question, I think, for example, I answered somebody at the very first question. I think it was Abhiraj, UX designer. So how I see this as that there is, for example, left hand and right hand, and
Okay.
For a product manager, a data could be his or her left or a right hand. Yeah.
Okay.
And if, like you were saying that you are a data analyst, so I feel that you are already, having a solid, how to say, coverage of what a product manager does. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
if you are, able to up your game to understand how to prioritize, how to speak with customers, how to understand their pain points, how, for example, I don't know if you were here, but like I mentioned with the example of one case study, if you can prepare that and understand each and every step in that and nuances of product manager, then it's going to really help you to understand what product manager does. And 30 to 40% of that is playing around with data. So if you are
Okay.
data analyst or background of data analyst, that is really going to, up your game faster and quicker. Yeah.
Okay.
The second question I will say you asked was the technical skills required,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I will say that one of the thing which I will say is that for a product manager, you don't really need solid technical skills because that is not what company is looking for. But like I said in the previous question, if you know, for example, SQL, if you know, let's say API, microservice, if you know a couple of things like these, that can help you up your game faster with the developers. So how, for example, developers work, etc., then that is definitely going to, help you to set up your onboarding, let's say, in the company faster than maybe some other people.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing, like I have my BSc maths honors from the Open University. Does it affect my like you can say growth rate in future, like as a product manager?
I mean, honestly, I cannot really say that because I'm not sure if people are really looking forward to that, aspect. Because what I have experienced is that if you have a couple of years of product experience, then people are generally caring about what products you built and how you built and why you built, rather than checking what you did and how you did and where you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you have done your mathematics BSc, I'm sure that you know, like data part plus maths part, right?
Yeah.
Very
Right.
good at
Right.
your heart.
Yeah.
So
Right.
in my opinion, it should not be, but it totally depends on, other side of the table person, how they are thinking at that moment.
Okay. There might be possibility that it can affect, right?
I mean, ideally it should not be, but you
Okay.
cannot
Sure.
kind of totally deny it, right?
Okay. I do understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gaurav.
Perfect. Thank you, Manshu. So I see two hands. I guess it was Mahadeep who was asking before. So let's go with Mahadeep.
Hi Gaurav, Mahadeep here.
Hey, Mahadeep.
So my question is around solving the problem of the user. So say, I get to understand from the user that they are facing, say, 10 problems. How do I determine that, say, these are the top 3 compelling problems which I should target as a PM first? So, is there any method or any guidance which you could share for me to think through those lens?
So if I understood your question, you are asking that how can you choose your customer who is having this exact problem which you are trying to solve, right?
No. I'm actually trying to solve the most compelling problem of the user. So my question is around determining that compelling problem. Like, how do I determine that, okay, this problem can wait, but this problem should be, the other problem should be tackled first?
Yeah. So I will say that in understanding that, one of the key thing is to talk to a lot of customers, right? To talk to them, to understand that what they are going through. Now, how you can do this is through different tools, like you can do product service, you can do NPS service, you can, have a chat with them, you can put, for example, something like intercom widget on your website or app or whatever it could be, to speak with them, meet them, send them screenshots of your product, wireframes, so on and so forth. I mean, there is a list you can do, right? Now, one thing which is going to be important here is to understand that what kind of problems they are facing, right? Now, when you are talking with them, they will tell you a lot of things, right? But to understand that what kind of the problem is the one which is the most compelling, I will say that there comes something of a skill of product manager, which is prioritization. Now, that is something which will help you to prioritize that out of these 10 things which 100 customers are saying, this X is the highest one because, for example, this will improve revenue. This will increase the return on investment, and investment is number of hours you are spending from dev side. When you are validating the problem, you are getting positive responses over there. When you are, I don't know, showing the wireframes to the people, they are giving you positive, outlook and on that problem, and so on and so forth. So that kind of becomes that this is the problem you have to solve. Of course, for this, you have to have a sample of data which is convincing enough to say that you have spoken to enough number of customers. So if that was something you were looking for.
Got it. Thank you, Gaurav.
I mean, there are a lot of other things you can do, but considering the time limit, I'm just, keeping it short and sweet.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, since we have one last minute, I will say that let's go with two last questions from Kuldeep and Shrey. So first, let's go with Kuldeep.
Hi, Gaurav. Thanks for taking my question. Gaurav, my understanding is that typically in an e-commerce company, though there, as I think we were discussing, there are different kind of roles like growth product managers, data product managers, so and so. But essentially, what I see is that there is a product manager who basically is, at the customer side of, who's basically solving the customer side of problems, and then there is a product manager who basically is solving the e-fulfillment side of a problem, right? Like if I take an example of Fliit, there will be somebody who will be looking after the customer retention side, the customer acquisition side, and there will be somebody who will be looking after the complete distribution network, right? The complete supply chain part of it. So typically, when somebody like you who's leading a product team or anybody who is hiring for product managers, so are there any typical personality traits that you have in mind when you're hiring for these two different product roles? That okay, if we are hiring for a customer solve for base, if we are trying to hire somebody to solve the customer side of a problem, then these are the kind of personality traits that we should have, that he or she should have. And similarly, if the person is going to solve the core business problem, the fulfillment side of it, then these are the kind of personality traits he or she should have. And if yes, there are anything specific, then is there a quick assessment that as an individual one can do to quickly assess or map that which side the person fits in?
Yeah, that's great question, Kuldeep. So to answer it, I will say that how I do, and this is totally from my side. So how I do it, So this is something like I mentioned in the one of the earliest questions. I generally keep it not segregated towards data PM or growth PM, or like you said, customer facing or e-fulfillment. I keep it more toward generalist product manager. And over there, I have definitely a couple of traits or something like what I'm looking forward to. So one of the key things which I look forward to is that, do I see the potential in this candidate that he or she is willing to speak with customers, or is it going to be just that they are going to sit inside the four walls of the office and kind of make decisions, or they are going to step out of the building and talk to the customers and make decisions? So that is the vibe which I see for. The second I will say is the data vibe, that are you a product manager who is going to just say that, okay, this is my gut feeling that if I add search functionality in Zomato, my X thing will increase? Or are you going to make sure that you are doing proper data analysis, then doing a validation? So that is the vibe which I see or I look for. I will say that definitely how I see is I will say it's prioritization, how you do the prioritization. There is no right or wrong answer in that, but kind of your approach towards it. So these are my top, I will say, product skills. Then it comes to soft skills. One of the key skills which I see is the communication, and not, checking the language aspect, but for example, how are you going to make sure that, since a PM plays a key role in each and every aspect of, building the product for the company, how comfortable are you communicating everything, every change, every, why we are not doing this, why we are doing this, so on and so forth, to the whole company, right, and to the required people. The other thing I will say is something which is covered in the first part, which I said, but coming to the soft side, customer empathy. And by that, what I mean is, I have seen people who, who are like, when they are speaking with customers, they go with, for example, a preset mind frame. And that is something which hinders the product development. Why? Because you have that, notion in your mind that this is what you want to build, but you are just doing this exercise because this is good to do, right? So that is what I look for, that are you customer empathetic? Then one of the key skill I look for is that, do you have, if not, but do you have an inclination towards UX, UI? Are you thinking from human design perspective, human behavior perspective or not? I mean, there are many other skills. It depends on, also the position for which you are hiring. Are you hiring for junior role, senior role, or like a VP role, or whatever kind of role that is? So it depends on that. But in general, I will say that these are the key things which I look for. Yeah. And the traits which I look for. I mean.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav. I think this makes quite a lot of sense. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Kuldeep. So let's go with the last question. And I see, Shrey, you are raising your hand. So please go ahead with it.
Yeah. Hi, Gaurav. I'm going to keep it short. I'm in this phase where I'm giving interviews for PM roles, and so I'm sort of struggling. So I already have a PM experience of 2 years, but some, like in some rounds, maybe in final rounds or in some second, third round, I sort of lose my track. So if you could please recommend some good resources for preparing for PM interviews, because say something like cracking for PM interview, it's a very good resource, but I believe it's more US centric, and I'm looking for something which is more Indian centric. So like if you have anything in mind, like please, it will be a very big help if you could recommend some source. Like looking for basically something like Geeks for Geeks, but for product.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, I can think of a couple of things. So one is, I don't remember that name. Maybe I can search for it. There is this, how to say it, a startup, I think, on what they do is that they interview product managers, yeah, and they put this on this is known as Exponent, and I don't know if you have seen this already, but I will post this link in the chat so that everyone can get benefit out of it. So if you go to this channel, what they do is that they interview product managers at different levels. Yeah. So I will say that this could be one thing which can help a lot. Why? Because this, first of all, helps you to see how, because people they are interviewing people, who are good product managers at great companies like Twitter, Flipkart, or so on and so forth. Right. So getting answers from them, getting to see how they answer, it really opens up the mind. The second I can tell you is that there is this thing known as PM interviews, something like that. It is, just give me a moment, I will search for it. It's my product management interviews, something like that. Product management exercises.
Yeah.
So if you know that, I mean, I will say it's also a bit US centric to say that, but this is sometimes going to help you, because there are questions which are asked worldwide, so not only US centric, and maybe you can take advantage of that. I will say that do a good search on, for example, Twitter, because sometimes what I have seen is that Twitter, if you follow people who are into product management, then they do write great articles. Yeah. And that is also something which can help you, because if you read some great articles, maybe you will get to know something which might help you to crack the answers or crack the question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not sure if I can come up with something right now. But yeah, I mean, if you are on Slack of Pragmatic Leaders, you can drop me a message. I can check out for it. If I find out, I will, be more than happy to drop you a message.
I am.
Yeah, so please do that. I go with the same handle. It's named as Cohort-17.
Sure, will do. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. So yeah, I will say that. Hey Piyush, if you are still there, maybe you can do the concluding remarks. But
Yes.
just one last thing from my side. So guys, like I said, I was mentioning this to Shrey. I am on Slack, so if you guys have any question, since this was just 1 hour, maybe there were some questions which I'm missing. So please feel free to write me. I will, whenever I can, I will write the answers over there. But if not, you can still write me if you want to chat about something specific, and I'm more than happy to answer any query regarding how it's going to be at Pragmatic Leaders, regarding the cohort in general, specific to any interview, for example, or whatever it could be. Yeah, so please, stage is yours, Piyush.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav. I hope everyone would have a lot of concrete takeaways from today's session. And I just want to add one thing to Shrey's question. So Shrey, we have a small 2 weeks of program to cater all of these issues, so we can connect later and we can discuss your specific queries. And yeah, that's also our cohort with Gaurav is starting on 27th of March. So in case you have any doubts, you have any queries, so you can drop us an email at admissions@pragmaticleaders.io. I am putting it in chat section. And we have a lot more such amazing sessions lined up on 25th of March. We are doing a session on gamification for product managers. You can find a link to join the session on our homepage of our website. So, and if you missed anything in this recording, so we'll publish this recording on our YouTube channel. So you can go and watch it on our YouTube channel later. So that's all from my side. Gaurav has already told you can connect with him on Slack. I have added link in the chat section. So that's all from my side. Thanks a lot, Gaurav, once again.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush. Thank you, everyone. I hope I was able to answer your questions. If not, you can write me. More than happy to answer. And yeah, have a great time. I will say keep safe and healthy, and take care.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.